Hello, my name is Sydney Wilder, and this is my Practicum experience report. I was in a second grade classroom at Sharon Elementary, and I was able to use technology in a variety of lessons, but I chose to present 5 of them. So the first lesson that I participated in that I enhanced with technology was a math lesson, and the content area was on coins and how to solve word problems using coins, or how to use different strategies to solve word problems about coins. I used a document camera to show the students the word problem, and then after they had had time to complete the word problem on their own, I asked several students to come up and present their findings for us. I think that it went well because the students were able to see how everyone did their own strategy, and I think that it was important for them to be able to see that there were different ways of doing the problems, and so that was really beneficial for a lot of the students because we took votes on which strategies were best, and it was great because the document camera enabled them to be able to see how the strategy was done, and the students were able to show how the strategy was done without having to speak super loudly and without having to go around and show everyone. I think one thing that I would have done differently with this lesson is I maybe would have had a few more students present. I only had 3 students present, and I think it would have been a little bit more beneficial after having seen how the document camera enabled them to see how the strategy worked if I had had more students come up and share their strategies. I think that for this lesson I would give myself 3 points because it is sort of a student consumption lesson, because they were able to go up and share their strategy with everyone else, and they were able to use the technology on their own. It also is a teacher presentation because I was able to show the students the word problem and give them ideas of how to do the strategy. So overall, I think I would give myself 3 points for this technology enhanced lesson. My next lesson was a shared reading, which was incredible. I was teaching them about how to do a fiction summary. So we were talking about how to do story structure, and we read the book together on the document camera. I think something that went well was the fact that we were able to use the document camera to show the book up on the screen, and that was really great because all the students were able to read along with me for the shared reading without me having to get a big huge book from the guided reading library, because we didn't have a big huge book for the book that we were reading. Something I do think that I would have done differently is I maybe would have had the students come up later and write for the fiction summary. There is on the third picture a picture of the fiction summary paper, and I actually had them tell me what they would want me to write, and then I wrote it up on the board, which was really great because they were able to see what they had given me and what I was writing, and so they were able to see the whole fiction summary together rather than just hearing it from me. I think that I would give this 2 points as a teacher presentation because I didn't really have a lot of student involvement up at the document camera. They were involved in the fact that they were able to read from the book without having to have the book directly in front of them, and I think that maybe next time I would have them come up and write on the fiction summary so that everybody could see their writing. My third lesson was again a math lesson, and I kind of used it in the same way as I did the first math lesson, except this time the content area I was teaching was coming up with different amounts of coins that different coins you could use to come up with one amount. So as you can see in the picture, some students came up with using quarters, some came up with using all of nickels. It was pretty cool. But again, I used this in a way that the students were able to come up and share their strategies and their solutions. And so again, I think that this would be a student consumption because they were able to share with the class and they were able to see how everybody did their problems. I think that one thing I would have done differently is that I would definitely have them, instead of just using paper, I would have them use like Unifix cubes or base 10 blocks, and I feel like maybe that would have been even more beneficial because I don't think they understood that you could definitely see the Unifix cubes or the base 10 blocks up on the document camera, and so I think maybe I would next time have students share who use those, and that way we can see the way that they move things around and everything else. So yeah. The second lesson that I did was a science lesson, and it was about the rainforest habitat. And I actually used my computer at one center as a rainforest clue, and I had a YouTube video of the sounds of the rainforest. So it played basically what somebody had recorded in the Amazon, and the students were able to come and press play and hear the sounds of the rainforest and make guesses about what you could hear in the rainforest and how that worked. I think that it did go well because the students were able to essentially go to the rainforest without actually being there, and they were able to hear and close their eyes and imagine things, and because they had these maps and other clues, they were able to imagine the things that they would see in the rainforest with the added effect of the sound. I think something that I would have done differently is I maybe would have had an actual video of the rainforest that like took you through the rainforest as the sounds played. I think that would have been a little bit more beneficial for them. For this one, I think I would give myself 2 points for teacher presentation because I was able to stay there at the center and listen to the things that they were coming up with, and it wasn't really involved for them, so they were just able to sit down and listen and get it from that, and so I think that that was really important. My last lesson that I did was a writing lesson, and it was kind of like the shared lesson where I had them do a map. So the content area I was teaching was we were writing a persuasive letter to Santa, and I was talking about using capital letters in things. I again used the document camera. I think something that went well was the fact that the students were able to use the document camera to show what they were writing, and we were able to make decisions on whether the capitalization was correct or not, and everybody could see it, so we could all make an assessment based on whether we thought the capitalization was correct or not, and then based on that decision I could have a student come up and change it, and so everybody could see how the student changed it, and they could make an agreement or a disagreement based on how the student had done it. I think something that I would have done differently is something with my pacing. I definitely think that this was beneficial for them, but it was hard to have students come up and write full sentences, and so I think maybe next time I would have the students come up and only do the correcting, or I would have them write beforehand and then I would put the sentences they had written in later. I think for this lesson I would give myself 3 points for student consumption because they were able to use the document camera and they were able to show their work, they were able to show how they wrote and the reasons behind that, and they were able to tell their reasons, and so I think it's really important for them because they were able to see the things that they had done, and their peers were able to see the things they had done, and they could make they could agree or disagree based on what the student had done, and I think that was really important. Finally, for my overall reflection, I found that it was a little bit easy to find tech in the classroom just because we did have a document camera and we did have a smartboard, and those things were so incredible to use. I was blown away by how easy they were to use and how simple it was to hook up the computer and show the students a video or put something up on the document camera and have them come up and show their work. It was really, really incredible to see the ways that they use that technology, and I was very impressed. I did find that it was a little bit harder to find things like full-length videos, or it just felt like the only thing I felt like I could use was the smartboard or the document camera, which were incredible and I definitely love using them. But we talked a lot about iPads in class and we didn't have that resource, and so it was kind of harder with that, not having that and not being able to find something that I could use with that. Um, the next question was it easy to integrate? And I felt like, especially with the document camera and the smartboard, the document camera was my main resource, and it was incredible because I could have the students come up and show things, and it was great because I could integrate it into any lesson, and I could change the way I integrated it, and it always worked, and it was wonderful. The smartboard was also a great integration resource because I could find things online that they could look at, or I could find games online where they could move things on the smartboard on their own, and that was really great. Compared to the beginning, I feel like I'm a lot more comfortable with using technology in the classroom, and even more so, I feel like I definitely can't live without it almost. The document camera has become such an essential resource, and the smartboard, they've become such an essential resource in my teaching that I feel like if I don't have those things in my own classroom, I think I would probably buy them on my own. But it's definitely made me more open to finding different technologies to use and ways to figure out how to use them. So I definitely gained a lot from this experience, and I will definitely be using technology in my own classroom and in my student teaching. Thank you very much.